I'd like to talk just for a little bit in this session about triple bottom line. Now we've learned about DFM, design for manufacture, and concurrent engineering, and really the goal there was to look at product design and make a decision. If we've got a bunch of possible designs, we're to decide on one best design based not just on how the product functions. That's kind of the traditional way, that we would just decide based on whichever one works better and whichever one functions better. And maybe that would be the one that would bring in the most sales. But rather I want to broaden the design criteria, how we judge them, to ask, what about the rest of the product life cycle, how it's manufactured, which has the least cost, which will have the fewest problems, quality, packaging, sales, service, all that product life cycle stuff, and add those into the design criteria for making our decision. So that's the concurrent engineering approach. But with triple bottom line, we're kind of even extending it a little bit more. And of course, the bottom line, well, that's how companies make decisions, right? It's the cost. How much is this going to earn us, or how much is this going to cost us? And for products, it's the unit cost, right? So that's the notes I have up there for triple bottom line. Unit cost, it's the materials, the labor, and the overhead, and that's kind of the total unit cost components we have. But is that really the whole story? Should we just make a decision based on the balance of what we'll earn and what it's going to cost in terms of economics? The proponents of triple bottom line say, well, that's not enough. There's really three elements that make up the bottom line. And this was all put forth initially in a book, but a lot of people have picked up on the idea of a triple bottom line. They say it's not just economics. There's two other E's in this triangle, and one of them is ecology. Ecology is the planet. How is our decision going to influence or impact the environment or the planet or the ecology? The other is equity. And equity is really about fairness and fairness to people. So the decision we make, is it going to be fair to people involved, or are there going to be social consequences based on what has happened? Another way that people have put this is profits, the planet, and people. Now we need to consider all three of them when we make a decision in business. Problem is, how do we? Economics and profits is pretty clear. Whichever has the most profits is the one we go with. And we can measure it in dollars. But the impact on the planet and the impact on people and fairness, it's a little harder sometimes to judge and to quantify that in terms of dollar and put it all in some equation. We don't have an answer for it. On the notes, I mention here that the different units of measure make it difficult to kind of combine those into one bottom line that people can really make a decision about. That's where the triple bottom line comes from. But you could think about kind of assigning a dollar value to the different elements. This one's easy. What about ecology and the planet? If we started assigning a dollar value to decisions or actions a company makes, perhaps there would be a fine associated with a certain amount of pollution or dumping that could be a dollar value. Or perhaps there's some health problems that could be caused as a result of the economic or ecological damage, and we could quantify the health costs based on insurance or claims or something. Similarly with people, if people are losing jobs as a result of a decision, perhaps there's some cost in terms of additional hiring in the future, or social structures that need to be built back up, or political activities that need to be instituted and have a real cost associated with them. So that's just a beginning introduction. Really the last question on the page just asks, how can we use a triple bottom line to judge a design? If we're deciding between 5 different designs, how can we broaden our design criteria to include those things and put that into a number or some way to really decide which is the best design to go with? I'll leave that to you to think about, and if you want to work on a project in that regard, or even your senior project or something, that's something for you to think about, right? Thanks.